Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Fiona Libach, Communications Director at IN3. Thank you so much for joining us. We have been doing a number of Tradewind Solutions Marketplace webinars for both our industry friends as well as government personnel. This one is specifically for industry. We are doing a number of these events and we'll continue to do so over the next couple of months because we want to make sure that all of you understand the benefits of the marketplace and how you can use it and how it can help you achieve your mission and help the government achieve its mission. So we've gotten great feedback thus far on the marketplace in terms of ease of use, and it's just an exciting opportunity to get some of your great solutions into the hands of government as quickly as possible. We have a great panel for you this this afternoon. We have Gene Del Coco, who is a longtime federal acquisition SME. He's working with IN3 and really doing a lot of work, specifically with industry, all of you, to make sure that you understand the process and how the acquisition works on through the marketplace. And we also have Rosa Johnson, who's the Director of Contracts at IN3, who's been intimately involved with a lot of the contracts that are coming in through Tradewind. So without further ado, I do want to thank our partners at ATARC. They've been great in terms of helping us coordinate these events and getting the message out to all of you about these events. So thank you, Marco, and thank you to everyone at ATARC. And thank you all again for being here. I'm going to kick it over to Rosa and Jean, and I will go off camera and I will present the slides as we go through the program. Thank you all.
Rosa, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, great. Sorry, I had to get off camera. Yes, as Fiona said, I'm Rosa Johnson, the Director of Contracts for IN3. And just a quick introduction of myself. I've been in the contracting arena for a little bit over 13 years. Started off in the Air Force doing Air Force contracting, and eventually did some Army contracting, and now I work for IN3, working on, as Fiona said, a lot of the Tradewind OTA agreements that we have, and I also do some of the contracting for IN3 as a whole. So, all right, thanks. I'll hand it over to Gene.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gene Del Coco. As was mentioned, I've had a background in acquisition and also research and development and project management with the Department of the Army. That was my first career. And then for the last 16 years, I've been doing non-traditional contracting under the other transaction authorities and working with consortium managers doing other transaction authorities under the OTA agreements. So with that, we'd like to talk to you today a little bit about the Tradewind Solution Marketplace. We have a few slides which we'd like to use as a prompt to some of our discussion. I encourage you to ask your questions. I think there's a question and answer button that you can press and leave a comment, or leave a question, and we'll try to answer those either during the conversation or at the discussion time at the end. So like I said, I encourage this to be a participatory type of a discussion. We want you to understand what we're trying to do here under the Tradewind Solution Marketplace. So with that, Fiona, yeah, thank you. I guess I want to start out, I've had a career both in traditional contracting, FAR-based contracting, and non-traditional contracting like OTAs and CRADAs and things of that nature. And I just wanted to bring out a couple of points that we've really taken a lot of time to think over and come up with let me call it an acquisition journey, okay, through the marketplace that makes it different than what you, as an industry representative may have experienced in the past. And I'd like to concentrate on the right-hand side of this. We were trying to develop a process, which I think we've been successful in doing, to increase the speed to contract. I think that's a comment that I've received over many, many years, saying that, okay, the government comes out with a requirement, and by the time we get to a contract, time has passed. That period may be months to years. The relevance of the technology that we brought to the table is gone. And in many cases, we forgot about why we were doing the particular program. We also, from a contractor standpoint, and I've had, a lot of discussion with contractors and been one myself, and wanted to try to create an environment that had a very low barrier to entry. We wanted to be able, the days of the 20-page proposals with detailed pricing and so forth. We wanted to try to eliminate that, or at least reduce that, so that small businesses, especially, who don't have a big, contract or proposal development department, will be still able to participate in the Tradewind marketplace. The biggest piece here, and I think the real difference between the traditional contracting approach and what we're trying to do in the marketplace, is that increased transparency and communication. For throughout this process and throughout the Tradewind marketplace process, there is continuous communication between, in this case, the IN3, who's accepting and who's managing the marketplace and the website with it, and the submitters to the marketplace, as to the adequacy of their submission. There's consistent help that's available to you, throughout this process, to shepherd you through this process, to make it successful to both you and ultimately to the government customer. And what it comes down to is that what we've settled on in the marketplace is a way of allowing you to bring your technology to market, basically to expose it to potential government customers, and doing so in maybe a modern media, which, using videos. And we're using, and you'll see as we go through this, a 5-minute video to explain, what you're trying to solve and what your solution is and what relevance it has to the government. So, and we'll get into more of that detail later. We hope that the marketplace, since this is going to be open, and it's going to be open, constantly. It's an open-ended requirement set and open-ended announcement, that we're going to begin to build that relationship between what we're trying to do, the government, and you, the submitters to the marketplace. Although the program is supported, actually, we're doing it in conjunction with the Chief of Digital and AI Center, which is, as its name implies, is really focused on AI and ML and data technologies. The requirements that you're going to see, and we have a slide that shows some of the initial requirements that have been put out, really expand beyond that, to how AI might be used for cyber, how AI might be used for maybe even some requirements that the government has not yet even considered. So, it's you're there to bring the ideas to the government. Rosa, any comments on that?
I think the only comment I want to make on this slide is, obviously I agree with everything that Jean said. And for me, working in the OTA area, I started doing this a few years ago. And I really believe in what the Tradewind Solutions Marketplace is doing, because, like Jean said, we are trying to have that very low barrier to entry, and also be very transparent in the process. And I love to kind of harp on that, because just being in contracting, Obviously, from being a contracting officer, contracting specialist, I've, had a lot of interactions with companies where, weeks will go by and they're asking, hey, what's going on with my proposal? Can you give me an advice about it? Anything like that. And with the Tradewind Solutions Marketplace, you don't have to worry about that. We're constantly giving feedback. We have the comment section. It allows for that transparency. It also prevents the companies from having to put so much money into just providing that proposal where, you just put in a video, no more than 5 minutes. I definitely think it also allows for that increased speed to contract. We're allowed to do things and we're able to be a lot more flexible and just be a lot quicker in the process. And like I said, coming from the contracting side, the FAR side, I really think this is a great opportunity for government and companies.
Thank you, Rosa. Go to the next slide, Fiona, please. Thank you. And maybe we should have explained what the Tradewind Solution Marketplace objectives are. And really, what we're doing is we're creating a centralized video repository. This is a repository that any government customer that's throughout the government will have at their disposal in order to view your ideas and be able to determine whether your ideas meet their problem statements and have a potential for meeting their requirements. So we'll see in the next slide though, but it really provides a benefit to both you, and again, I'm kind of talking to some of the small businesses right now. One of the problems that I think most small businesses have is, do you have access to the right customer base? And in the solutions marketplace, we're going to try to create that customer base for you by making your technology available to as many government customers as is possible. The marketplace is open, and it's open to industry, which I'm expecting is represented here, academia, so the academic community can also participate, and also individuals. So if you have an individual researcher that is not really affiliated with either a company or with an academic institution, can also provide submissions. And also, for the government laboratories have access to this. So we're really trying to reach that non-traditional researcher who is able to bring some new and novel technology to the government marketplace. I guess I had so many years with the government, it's hard to criticize, but the government doesn't think of all of the things that need to be done, or are knowledgeable about all of the things that are out there that can be used to solve their problems. We want to try to solicit industry and the partners we're talking about here to bring those ideas to the government. Now, one of the significant parts about the marketplace, and this is a real departure from what you've seen in the past, is that usually an announcement goes out, submissions either in white paper form or in proposal form are provided to the government. The government then, will review those, will select those that come closest to their requirement, and that's what is considered the competition phase of the program. We kind of flip that. So once you submit your 5-minute video, we have gotten concurrence on this, that submission of the 5-minute video and the assessment that we will do on your 5-minute video, and that assessment team is made up of both government, industry, and academia. We'll review your submission, we'll measure it or evaluate it against some basic evaluation criteria, which is published, by the way, in our announcement under Appendix B. And I would recommend strongly that if you have not seen the announcement, you go and look at that rubric under Appendix B, which is telling you exactly how they will be evaluated. Once your video is reviewed, and if it is determined that it meets the basic requirements of that rubric, then you have completed your competition. So at that point, your technology is considered competitive. So any government customer that wants to deal with you or wants to buy your technology, there's no additional competition that's required. Consider that like a sole source. You've already been evaluated. So I think that's a key point to this. And the award of, the actual contract pathway, whether it be an OTA, whether it be a FAR-based contract, whether it be, some other acquisition pathway, is available to the government to take advantage of for any of these submissions that come in. Rosa, comment?
Hey, Gene, before I comment, I saw there was a question from.
Okay, what's the question?
The question is, would it be possible to provide a white paper instead of a video? A white paper can provide far more details about a product solution. Gene, do you have the answer for this?
Yeah, I do. The answer is we're working on videos. Now, as a part of your video submission, there will be a very short description, limited to like 1,500 characters, which could be, which you will write and which will describe your solution or describe your offering. Now, if you hold that question just for a second, there's going to be more. I'm going to have some more discussion, which I will share with you, about what happens after a video is considered acceptable. I will mention that during the evaluation process, you're going to submit your video. Evaluators will look at it. When the evaluators are reviewing your video, if there's something that is not clear to them, and this goes back to the transparency piece. As Rosa mentioned, there is a place on your video. Think of it as a YouTube video, and where you can leave a comment to a YouTube video. There's comments that can be left to your video submission. So one of the evaluators listening to your video, watching your video, may say, don't understand a particular thing. They can communicate with you, and they will communicate with you by sending you a comment on that video. You can answer that, hopefully answer that comment that's being made. So you're essentially supplementing the information that you have within the video if something is unclear to the evaluators. I hope that answered the question. If not, we can pick it up again.
Well, Gene, I just wanted to touch on that, because I think the other part here, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I know this is your lane, but my thought was that the entire purpose of the marketplace is to get away from the white papers, right? Because the white papers take a long time to write. It takes a long time for the government to read it. Whereas if a innovator, whether it's industry, academic, or individual, if they put together the video in compliance of the rubric that the government has put out, if they hit all those points, then they will in fact be answering the government's questions and addressing everything the government wanted to do. But it's only a 5-minute video, and it saves time for everybody. So I think the marketplace by design is sort of like the anti-white paper. Am I right about that?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we can move on to the next
Yeah,
slide.
next slide, please.
I think you've kind of touched on a lot of this as is.
Yeah, I think we have. Really, what we're trying to do is take the load off of the submitters of the industry to try to make it as quick a process as possible, get you from submitting your ideas to actually seeing an award. and that's really been the challenge. The way we're going to do this assessment is that we have laid out a cadence for the assessments. So we will be collecting videos on a monthly basis. So right now, we have already completed the evaluations for the submissions that came in November. We are now collecting videos for December, which will be evaluated the first week in January. And so you're going to get immediate feedback, whether your video has been acceptable or awardable or not awardable. And we'll get into what you do in that particular case. Like I said, as far as this is concerned, the rules that apply to OTAs, the rules that apply to FAR, as far as the terms and conditions and so forth and so on, everything is negotiable. Think of it as an OTA with kind of a loose set of requirements that attach to that particular award. On the side of the government, and this is the excitement that we're getting, I think, from the government side, is they see the ability to process and to review a lot more, many more technologies than they would in a normal process. In the next slide or so, we'll have a set of what we have as the initial set of focus areas, and you can see, they're written in at a strategic level, which permits you the maximum flexibility to insert pretty much any of the technologies that you have that are even close to those focus areas. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, these are those strategic focus areas that I was just talking about. You can see that the first few of those, again, there is an emphasis here on AI and data and ML, but the last three or so, streamlined business processes, assuring cybersecurity. And I want to bring your attention to the last of those, which is discovering blue sky technology applications. And this is where I said, the government knows what it knows, but we've gotten a real strong indication that the government is willing to listen to anything that might solve their problems, address some of their problem statements, and provide them capability in areas that they may not have even thought about. So that's kind of a big, call it a bucket of capability for you to bring in your technologies, okay, that may not fit precisely in some of the others, but you could obviously, have them in the blue sky or other category. Now, these requirements will evolve as we get more and more customer interaction with us, the government customer interaction. Customers may have more specific requirements. So we intend every 30 days to review the announcement that we put out on the 1st of December and supplement these focus areas with any of those new requirements that any potential customer may come in with, and of course make those available to you.
Hey, Gene, if I could just cut in really quickly, especially since we're talking about the announcement. So hopefully everyone has seen the announcement on the Tradewind website, but if you have not, please go and look at that announcement, because like Gene said, we are constantly looking at that to update it. I just put a revised announcement out not too long ago. So, when you see that announcement, we also, if you have any comments about that announcement, feel free to, send a message about that, because we are always, like Gene said, every 30 days, we're making updates. Also, I wanted to go to the questions really quickly, because we do have a few more questions in there. So one of the questions, Gene, we just got is Tradewind Solutions Marketplace coordinating with the VA National Artificial Intelligence Institute. How many other departments and agencies are stakeholders? Gene, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I don't know if I could answer that specifically about the VA. But I will tell you that the complete, well, many agencies within the Department of Defense are participating in the marketplace. They have been briefed. They're knowledgeable about what we're doing, and they're anxious to see the results of what we see in the marketplace. Now, beyond that, if you talk about VA or some of the other agencies that are not DoD, they also have access to that marketplace. As long as it's government, the total collection of all of those technologies will be made available to all government. So, and Fiona could probably speak to this a little bit, but you know, she's doing a tremendous outreach, you know, to all government to make them aware of the marketplace, okay, and how they can interact with it and take advantage of its, you know, of the benefits that they can see from it.
That is correct. Thank you, Gene. And those
Okay.
efforts will continue. Yeah,
Okay,
I think initially sort of like the lower hanging fruit is obviously CDAO and the DoD proper, but as we evolve the marketplace and as it gains more and more traction and as we get more and more users, we are doing more and more events to kind of broaden that out, but it's sort of like a slow train leaving the track. So we're starting it now and it's picking up speed. So thank you. Rosa,
Okay.
are there any more questions in the Q&A you want to address?
Yeah, there are.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
there's a question here about how will the marketplace planning to minimize bias in the selection process. That's one of the reasons why we have both academic SMEs, industry SMEs, and also government SMEs participating together. Now, we are using a tool to do the evaluation, and that tool is called Valid Eval, for those of you who may not have heard of it. It's used extensively throughout the Department of Defense, actually throughout the U.S. government in total. It's being used for SBIRs, it's being used by the Department of Justice, it's been used by Department of Transportation. And that tool actually has an algorithm in it that detects or at least measures the bias of the evaluators. So not only are we watching and of course, you know, kind of overseeing and managing that evaluation process, but we also have tools that are able to measure any of the bias that might creep into that evaluation. I hope that answers the question. The question here is about why an OTA and not a CSO. It could be anything. We're talking OTAs. It could be a FAR-based contract. Could be a CSO. Could be a CRADA. You know, the pathway is unlimited, and we've gotten approval to use any of those acquisition pathways that fit better to the particular customer and to the particular application. As a matter of fact, you know, we're also looking at, not only looking, we're working actively. A customer who decides to select a particular video and may already have a contract in place within their agency. It could be an OTA with a consortium manager, you know, it's already been established. That's certainly a viable pathway to get something awarded. There's another question here. Do the DoD organizations fund the contracts, or is this a CDAO funds? It could be both. A customer coming from Department of the Army has a program, it's going to be their funds. Department of Navy, Air Force, doesn't make any difference. CDAO has certain requirements that they will fund through the CDAO. There's a question here that says, is there an opportunity for state, local, tribal to buy from the marketplace? At this point, I can't say there is, but I don't see any blocker for us to expand to that. Again, you have to realize that we're now in the second month of the marketplace. So we're still in, if you want to call it the beta version of this thing. And depending on the success as we proceed through what we're doing right now with the DoD organizations, expansion of this is certainly, a possibility. All government groups, divisions request a white paper today for evaluating solutions. So it's something that companies already have. A video is a new requirement for no government agency asked for, and can take a significant amount of time and cost to create. I disagree with that comment. Yes, the traditional way of doing things is white paper or proposal, but if you have a cell phone and you have an idea, you have a video, and we've seen that. I've seen that demonstrated. We did the first set of submissions, and the first set of submissions from November 1st through November 30th produced 21 videos. And when I kind of questioned the submitters, I said, "What did you do?" He said, "Oh, we whipped out the cell phone. We had a couple of slides, and they produced a video." And they felt that it really was a very easy lift to do it. So I would suggest we're not looking at by any means for production quality videos. These are videos that you would produce at your desk.
Gene, if you
Okay.
don't mind, just a quick comment about that, to kind of elaborate on what you just said. So yes, we are, looking for, you can, if you want to and have a whole production team to make your video, that's fine. But if you look at the Tradewind how-to videos, the help videos that we have put on the Tradewind Marketplace website, we give examples of just how to make a quick video on your phone, iPhone or Android, whatever you have. It does not have to be something elaborate. We literally are just looking for you to follow what's in the announcement. It's only a few things that you have to discuss in your video.
Yeah, in the near future, after we're through the first evaluations, we have selected a couple of videos that I think were done, just beautifully. They were excellent examples of a quick video that was produced, with like I said, a very easy lift, not a lot of effort, and really did a fantastic job in presenting their case and their technology. And once we get the approval from those companies to post them, we're going to post those videos on the website so people can see what a good video looks like. And again, we try to do that in the help section with some of the instructional videos that we produced.
Jean, if I could chime in here, I think I had a thought, and again, I always defer to you on this, but my other thought was, if a company is submitting, or an innovator or academic institution is submitting a white paper, it's usually against a very specific call, right? It's for a very
Right.
specific, whereas if you're in the marketplace and you go to the assessment and you're chosen, you're deemed to be awardable, your video will stay there, and whenever the government needs your specific thing, they're going to find you and you have it. Whereas, if you do a white paper for a very specific thing, the marketplace, you do it once, and as soon as the government needs that solution, you're in, right? Like, you're awarded.
Right. Why don't we go, Brianna, why don't we go to the infographic? I think the first,
The process map, or the
yeah, that, I'm sorry.
oh,
Yeah,
this
that,
one
yeah,
that walks them through the process.
yeah, that one. Maybe this would kind of explain. For those who were, for the company that asked the question about the white paper, I think it's important. Like I said, cell phone idea, present an idea that's going to capture the attention of the customer. That's the upper left-hand block. you upload that video. It's going to go into an assessment. Now, in very few cases, do you go from a submission, if you want to talk about a white paper, to an assessment in, let's say 2 weeks. And we'll just use that as a time frame. The assessments that we are running right now, we have just completed assessment on 21 videos, and we did that in 2 days. Okay, because they were videos. Okay, and we had a very good rubric which was used for the evaluation process. Now, if the assessment team looks at that and says, wow, yep, this is an awardable video, then you'll get feedback. You're told that you're going to go onto the marketplace, and only awardable videos are posted for the government review on the website. Okay, you will receive feedback to tell you what we thought of your video, or maybe some things that could be enhanced within the video. And it's going to be it's going to be put on the website. The government then has a chance to select it. The government customers that review that can select it. Now, they can do a couple of things with it. They could either say, well, he nailed it precisely, therefore I want to buy it just the way it's been presented. Okay, so that's the as is category, which is down at the bottom right hand corner. Okay, but more than likely, and I suspect just from my experience in dealing in this area, the government's going to want a little more information. So they may contact, and that's the procedure. If the government wants to know, if the government customer wants to know more about what it is that you're presenting, or has questions about what you presented, then they can contact you directly and ask the question, right? They may want to have a one-on-one discussion with you, which is a simple thing, and you can discuss, like we're discussing now, the benefits of your particular solution. They may ask for a demonstration. There's a variety of different things that they might want to do to gather that confidence factor that they have in what you're presenting. More than likely, when it goes to contract, you're going to need a document, right? Government's got to live on the documents. So they're going to have it. There's probably going to be a document in the OTAs. We would call them project agreements, where you'll list what you're going to deliver. I'm sorry, describe your solution, what you're going to deliver, what your IP issues are, what IP you're claiming, what your payment schedule is, and so forth. And that'll be the document that's signed and will carry the weight of a contract. So like I said, there will be probably some written stuff, but we're trying to speed up the process by getting through that evaluation process and getting through that acceptance process and the advertisement and acceptance process with the government customers as quickly as we can. I hope that answers the question. Okay, where were we back in the slides?
Gene, we also have a couple more questions. We have a question from Robert. Is there an opportunity for state, local, tribal to buy from the marketplace?
Yeah, I thought I mentioned that. Right now, we have not addressed that. And like I said, we're in the second month of this. As we assess the progress that we're making within the marketplace over the next couple of months, then I think expansion to those markets is probably the next step for us.
Okay,
I see no reason that we cannot do that.
Okay, and we have one more question from John Ferry. Who provided the videos? Were these from a closed beta? Is there a review cycle, or are these videos reviewed continuously?
I'm sorry, who provided the videos?
Yes, the first question was, who provided the videos?
Well, it's either the,
Oh, okay. He clarified for the initial 21 that you just reviewed.
yeah, of those 21 videos that we reviewed, 19 of them came from small business and 2 of them came from traditional businesses. I hope that answers that question.
Yes, and just to also add something to that, that last question is a review cycle. As Jean mentioned earlier, we are in the process of reviewing the first videos that we received in November. And we also have been getting other videos for the December cycle. So, you know, we are going to continue to review these videos.
Yeah, let me
Oh.
make, I'm sorry, Rosa.
Oh, no, go ahead, Jean.
Now, I just wanted to mention, there really are 2 review cycles. When the videos come in, IN3 will look at those videos and do a compliance check on them. That's just a simple check. You know, is the video, you know, can you understand it? You know, is the video of sufficient quality that somebody can actually look at it and listen to it and review it? The second review question is, does it meet the requirements as stated in the announcement? You know, if someone came in with a 12-minute video against a 5-minute requirement, then it's considered, you know, non-compliant, and the submitter is notified and given an opportunity to correct it. That's another point that I wanted to make here, and I think it's probably an opportune point, is that there are no losers in the marketplace. In any competition, there's obviously winners and losers. There's those that are going to be accepted, or a company that's going to be accepted, and those that are not. In the marketplace, if a video goes through an assessment, goes through an evaluation, and is determined to be non-awardable for whatever reason, okay, there is detailed feedback telling you why that determination was made. Now, that isn't the end of the story. At that point, you have the ability to take that video, adjust the video against the feedback that you received, and then resubmit it in the next cycle. So you have a continuous loop. You can continually upgrade and modify your video and resubmit it, and it will be evaluated each time it's submitted. The other point I want to make, as far as the frequency, any company, and that goes for the universities or any of the other participants, any submitter can submit as many videos as you would like into the marketplace. So for any given cycle or over multiple cycles, if you have particular technologies that address a variety of different problem statements, you can put in a video for each of those problem statements and just have multiple videos. So like I said, there's no rejection. There's an ability to improve, and you can keep improving your video. Now, for those who have, let's say you were considered awardable on the first cycle, and especially the technologies that have a tendency to have an expiration date. By that I mean, you know, the technology changes so often that maybe the video you submitted this month, you know, 3 months is the technology's been upgraded. Well, you have the ability to go onto that marketplace, pull that video down, and put the upgraded video on. So, like I said, you're in complete control of what you have either submitted or on the marketplace. Okay. All righty, let's, we've gone through that. Go to the next slide, Brianna, please. Okay, we've gone through this one. Go through the next.
Yeah, the rest of it is about on the customer side.
Okay,
We've pretty much covered all of the slides, Gene, unless you want to double back on any of it. I think we've
no,
covered all this material. Do we have any more questions coming in from the Q&A? It looks like we've answered everything.
is there anything that has been discussed today that any of you are unclear about? Again, I would recommend strongly that you visit the Tradewind Marketplace, Tradewind Solution Marketplace, tradewindmarketplace.com. Get on that website. You can look at the help section. You can see the sample videos we put together. You can see the announcement and the process for uploading a video. We are available. Rosa, Fiona, and I are available at any time. If you're in the midst of this process, or you're attempting the process and have a problem, there's a help, a support section or support email that you can send to, or contact us directly, and we can help you through.
Gene, I just wanted to touch on something. We talked about the assessment cycles, and I'm not sure if we made it super clear exactly what that timeline is. So if a solutions provider, company, innovator, academic institution, if they submit at any given time, okay, let me take a step back. You can submit at any time. So in many ways, yes, it is a rolling process. Any video submitted between the 1st and the 30th of a month will be assessed the following month. So all the videos that were submitted November 1st to November 30th are being assessed now in December. And any videos that are submitted December 1st to December 31st will be assessed in January. And it just keeps rolling like that. So I just wanted to make sure that people understood that you can submit at any time, and whatever day of the month you submit, your video will be assessed the following month, and you will start to get communication about how that process is going.
Yeah, and there will be constant communication. There's an acknowledgement when your video is submitted, so it'll acknowledge the acceptance of your video. You will get feedback if for some reason or other it was not compliant. There's a comment section on there, so a comment will be dropped that will tell you, this is what's wrong with it, from a compliance standpoint. And then as it gets into the evaluation, and you could be assured that we start the evaluation about a week after the end of the month. Okay, so the first evaluation for the December submissions will be done in about the 7th of January. We'll begin that. The evaluation period usually takes about 3 days, depending on the number of videos. It takes about 3 days, and then you will get feedback after that is completed. So, within, let's say, a month or so of submitting your videos, you'll know the status of your video, okay, and receive any feedback that you might need in order to either upgrade it or just know that it's been accepted and why. And by the way, that's the other point on feedback is that once it's posted on the website for the government review, the government reviewers, let's say, the government customers, can peruse the video. I kind of look at it like the Amazon Marketplace. You look at it and you say, yeah, geez, there's something there that I want. Okay. And the government might, leave a comment and say, this is something I'm really interested in, or this, I would be interested in this if it had this other characteristic. So, there's a communication that's developed between you and the customer base. Okay. And I think that's very important, because, one of the things I know from a small business standpoint is that getting face time with potential customers is kind of a difficult proposition for a small business. Okay. Just the expense of doing it, and, being able to make the right contacts. Well, you're going to do a bunch of virtual contacts. You're going to have virtual contacts with hopefully a tremendous customer base. So you could begin a dialogue, with that customer base. The important thing, and I keep stating this to everyone that I've spoken to that submitted a video, is there's a couple of things that I'd like to leave you with. And then if you're considering putting a video in, I suggest a couple points. You want to describe the problem that you're trying to solve. What is it that you're addressing? What's the problem statement? What issue do you know that the government has that you're trying to address? Secondly, I would describe your solution, okay, what it is, how you're going to solve that problem. I would also include somewhere in that discussion, the value to the government. This solution, if accepted, will really provide this measurable value: increased lethality, increased efficiency in processing data, whatever it turns out to be. And then I would also leave a comment that says, and this is why we're uniquely qualified to do this, why we're better than everybody else. Okay. And with that, those four elements I think are critical to any video. But I would use the first couple of minutes like, I guess, like anybody doing a briefing. You want to get your message out. You want to get the attention of that customer that's going to be reviewing the video. So within the first couple of minutes, you should be able to put the bottom line up front. You should be able to say, okay, you have a problem. I have a solution. Okay. And here's some basic elements of that solution, but you're going to describe more fully as you go through the video. Okay. And here's the value to you. So you want to be able to get them to sit on the edge of their chair saying, I want to hear what this company has to say. So again, that's just a couple of, couple of pointers. The videos that I think that have been very successful in the first go around have really contained these characteristics. So I leave that as a comment to you.
And Jean,
Okay. Oh, sorry, Fiona, go ahead.
yeah, and then we can go to that last question that you have.
Oh, okay. All right,
I just
great.
had a thought, and I think this might be valuable for the participants here. I'm assuming some people maybe have submitted already and some people on here have not yet. But Jean, I think we could share with them some of the things that we've noticed from the first round, right? I think as you're going through the assessments, it seems like the videos that kind of didn't make the cut are really the ones that did not adhere to the rubric. Am I right about that? I think that's a really critical piece.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So in order to be successful, you want to make sure that you get into the announcement so that you see the rubric and make sure that your video addresses every single point. If you kind of glaze over it or don't touch it at all, more likely than not, that video is not going to be approved.
Yeah. By the way, in the rubric, there's only about 5 evaluation criteria there. Okay. Some of them are pretty intuitive as you look through it. And there would be a suggestion. My suggestion would be that when you produce your video, I would read the announcement, look at the rubric, produce the video, and then look at the rubric as you review your video before you submit it to make sure you've captured all those points. There's a question here that says, will there be notifications when a customer is looking for a particular solution in order for companies to update videos if needed? Or is the idea the customer will start with the videos already approved? It could happen either way. And the idea of the update of the requirements that we have listed in there right now is customers who may have a specific requirement. And when we get those specific requirements, we will add them. But I think the customers are going to look at both ways. They're going to say, all right, I'm going to submit my specific requirements that I have, but I'm also going to look and see what's in on the website as far as already submitted videos. But you'll be notified, like I said, if you review the announcements and you keep close to the website, you'll see those updates. So you may decide, well, gee, my video almost does that. Maybe I want to take an opportunity to update my video to include that specific reference to that requirement. Does this still require the customers to be in SAM? I'm not sure I understand the question.
I did want to ask, I saw that, Gene, did the attendee mean customers, or were they asking if the contractor had to be in SAM?
While we get
Yes, they
clarification-
meant
contractor, yeah.
contractors. They meant
Yeah,
contractors,
in
yes.
order to get awarded a contract, you'll have to be registered in SAM. We talk about the funding process for non-CDO organizations who want to leverage your acquisition pathways. Just MIPR or more pre-coordination required. Yeah, it could be as simple as a MIPR. It depends on the agency and what the agency requires. One of the things that's important here is that the CDAO will not necessarily be doing all of these, all the contracting actions. The whole idea behind the marketplace is that we have distributed contracting. And if I haven't mentioned this, I apologize, but if a customer selects a particular video, they could take that video to their own acquisition authority within their organization and say, here, I have this approved, this awardable technology, I want to buy it. And they hand it to their acquisition people. So internally, they can handle the whole thing. So there isn't necessarily a need for transfer of funds. CDAO has stated, though, that if a particular acquisition center within an organization feels they don't want to handle this, then the CDAO will do it.
Jean, I just wanted to jump in here. It is 2:30. We are at time. We've gotten a lot of really good questions. I think we answered close to 17 or 18 questions. So we want to thank everyone for being here. We will be doing more of these. Feel free to join us again if you feel like, you want some more info, or if you want to just see it again. Jean, thank you for your time. Rosa, thank you for your time. Of course, Marka and Atark, thank you. Jean, did you have something?
Yeah, I just want to make, the last question was, can you post the URL for the rubric? Go to tradewindmarketplace.com. The announcement is posted. It's Appendix B to the announcement. And it's all listed there.
Yeah, if you guys haven't visited www.tradewindmarketplace.com, that is your one-stop shop for all things Tradewind Marketplace. All the videos that we were referencing, they're all on there, all the instructional videos, as well as FAQs. And like Jean said, you will find the announcement there with the rubric. So thanks again for everyone's time. Thank you, Atark. Thank you all, and we will see you all soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.